So I showed you two of my cars before.
I need a cracker like.
Oh, my man came in here with it. Oh, man, awesome.
Hey, that's why it's model, it's fashionista model / fencer.
So Nike merch too?
Oh, see what I'm saying?
Wait, I got 1 2X and 2 XLs.
I think XL.
Yeah, XL. Bro, he's getting.
Hey, I ain't got your midsection.
I'll do the XL.
It's double X right here.
That's double X right there. I ain't got your midsection, Miles.
I appreciate it.
You see it, KK.
That's
You
lovely.
see it?
Yeah, this is dope.
Man, appreciate
This
it.
is real
I think
dope.
you might be one of the first people to come in with actual gifts.
Yeah, I don't recall a guess.
Yeah.
And 600 shows.
That's what we want to get into, you know, like we were just texting. It's such an interesting story, journey. It's so funny. Everyone I've talked to about having you on the show is like, yeah, you know, the Black Fencer, because it's pretty much an easy way to let people know who he is. Him.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach kind pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach kind pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach kind pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up.
Welcome to The Pivot, a part of Fanatics. Fred Taylor, Shannon Crowder. I'm Ryan Clark. To the Pivot fam, thank you for always pivoting with us. When I say your name, do I have to say it in an accent? Is it like, you know, Miles Chamley-Watson?
That's perfect.
Oh my God! Hey, I always told people too, if I had an accent, I'd be so much more handsome. You know what I mean? Like when you have one in America, they think you're Idris Elba.
Want to know my full name? It's the most, Miles Cleveland Chamley-Watson.
Wow.
I don't know where Cleveland came from though.
It's kind of hard though. You got 4 names.
It's like it's like a soulful musician, singer back in the day type of situation.
Full like I play instrument, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I wish. Yeah.
So Miles, tell me about how a young brown boy is so terrible at school, he has to take up either badminton, tennis, or fencing.
Oh, wow. You did your research, mate. Okay, all right. So I was born in London, Brixton, Ealing, and then my mom met my stepdad, and he was working in London at the time. He's Canadian. And then she's like, hey, we're moving to New York. And I was like, no, we're not. I'm not going anywhere. And I think I was 9 the first time. You know, when you're 9, it's like those like important years, all your friends, family. Moved to New York. Hated it right away. You know, mixed kid with an accent in the public school, right away. And I was like, this is not gonna work for me. And I got kicked out of that school. Just like being a pain in the butt kid, you know, ants in the pants, couldn't sit still. And then my mom, this woman that was on the admissions program for a private school. So, oh, you know, we can give your son an interview, but he's got kicked out of public school and I was gonna work. I was like, I got it. Put the accent on, we got in. But as like basically a punishment, I had to pick up tennis, fencing, or badminton. Because I guess mental punishment sports, which if I never go into trouble, I never get out of trouble. Which is basically a double-sided sword, which is what I do now. So, thank you.
I love it.
And with that, the jumping around and all that stuff from even, I'm going to Jamaica in Christmas.
Oh, my dad's Jamaican.
We love Jamaica. And then, but all the jumping around, why was it that? Why were you in London? Why did it, the whole just reading your story was like, this is, you just, you know, you ran through it, but the background of what made you who you are.
So basically my mom, Queen, superhero, she was born in Malawi in Africa. And then she moved to New York, to London when she was 18. And I was born there. And then actually after moving from London to New York, we moved to Philly because of 9/11 happened. Okay. And then I was in class, science class, never forget it. And then, you know, God forbid, the worst tragedy happened. And then we had to move to Philadelphia because my stepdad at the time was working for a bank right next to the World Trade Center, right next to it. And I happened to be late to work that day, which is nuts. So then I went to Quaker school. Like imagine being in Quaker school. Like, you call your teacher by the first name. There's like this meaningful worship. We have to be quiet. And I'm like, I can't do this. Got kicked out of there, obviously. Then my last one was boarding school in Long Island. St. James, the Knox School. Shout out to them because they formed me into who I am. And that's kind of the last straw. It's like, if you don't make this work, you know, just like, and I think like growing up, my mom, obviously, and then my stepdad later on, but didn't have like a dad growing up really to like figure out kind of who you are and stuff. So I think while I was getting into trouble all the time, just didn't have any purpose until I found fencing, and then thank God for my stepdad.
But bruh, like looking at you, you would have been a hell of a basketball player.
I can
You
still
would have
play.
been a hell of a tight end. Like, why do you defensive? What was defensive badminton? Like, what? Like,
I know.
Goddamn, bro.
I played football or soccer, Sicily, for a little bit too. British. It's like football, cricket, rugby. Those are the ones. And then in London, we don't really have basketball, like American football, really. Now we do, obviously, but growing up, we didn't have it. So that was it. But I feel like I could definitely, you know, catch a couple balls, you know? I'm not athletic, which is good, but yeah. My dream actually is to do 2 Olympic sports.
Okay, what would be the other sport?
A long jump.
So you do know, listen, and I know we're getting this thing where, who was it, Austin Rivers comes out and he's like, okay, all these hoopers could play football. You do know, Miles, you don't just get to go long jump. Okay. It's not like just one of those things you just pop out and show people.
True, but one time I did do my like full day of testing. You know how like beginning of the season you do your VO2 max, your long, everything, and I jumped like 3 meters standing, which is pretty good, they said. So I'm not saying I'm gonna be an Olympic champion, but I would love to
try it.
Enter like a local one, just to try it. You know, what's gonna happen? Yeah. So
to inspire people to come over to the sport of fencing is your duty. On a recent Instagram post, you say you're forever indebted to the sport because without it, it changed your life, and without it, you know, you wouldn't be who you are. It helped you with your ADD, ADHD, dyslexia. Can you dive into that for us a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. And I think like as every little kid, you know, when I was 7, 8 in London, you know, you pick up a stick, right? And then that was the first introduction to fencing. But then I think not like having, whether it was a father figure growing up, I kind of was just kind of lost, right? Like, what do I do? Which is why my ADD, ADHD, dyslexia got exposed more. And then when I did try fencing for the first time, when you put on, you know, the mask, you feel like a superhero. Right. Put it on, whatever's going on in the world, doesn't matter. Put the foil in your hand, and just feel powerful. It's like that was the first moment. I was like, wow, I love something for the first time. Right. And it was weird because I never knew about fencing. My friends played it, my family. Only time I saw it was a Parent Trap, you know, in the movie. So when I started to fence more and do better in school, my ADD, ADHD started to subdue a little more. Okay. Because all it is not having something to focus on. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of America, the world, it's always immediately ADHD, let's give them Adderall. Yeah. Yeah. Right? Here for sure. Yeah. And it's like, I never forget the day, never told anybody the story. So when I was in boarding school, I was about 15, 16, and I was getting just being stupid, right? And then I had to go to the principal's office again. And they're like, Miles, you have to take Adderall or Ritalin or you can't be in class. And I was like, no. And it was like almost like they like almost held me down and like tried to put them into my mouth. Never forget it. And I was like, all right, cool. And I spat it out at the woman, sorry. But I'll never forget it. And I was like, I'm not taking this. I was like, I'll do better in school. And I'll never forget that day. And then I said, okay, that's it. I'm giving everything I can into fencing. And that was the last time I ever...
Was that around the time you stole your dad's car, too?
Wow! Wow! Who did you ask, bro? Huh? Yeah, no, yes.
Tell me about that story, though, because you said it was something in sitting there talking to him about it and him being disappointed in you that really changed your life, though.
Wow. Man, that's crazy. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. That was actually literally around the exact same time. I came back from like a summer break, or not summer, like winter break so I was in Long Island, went back to Philadelphia. And I was with one of my boys, and we wanted to get cheesesteaks. So we had to be 15 then, because I didn't have my license at the time. And then my mom said she heard me. I was like, let's drive to go get cheesesteaks. I didn't have my license, nothing. So I went and I took the car. Oh, God. And I went to go get cheesesteak, and everything was closed. And I'm right around the corner of the street, and there's a pizza shop open. I'm like, we could have walked. Then I went to the parking garage, and as I'm turning right, because you can turn right on a red in Philly, and I guess like they said you couldn't turn right, I got pulled over. Wow. And I was like, no. I was like, oh no. And then a cop came over, he's like, hey, license registration. I was like, sorry. I was like, I don't have it, mate. I'm really, really sorry. Like, wait, like super British. And then he was like, hold on. This other woman came. He was like, you got two options. You're either going to the police station or you're gonna call your mom. And I was like, how long am I going to the police station for? Because I'm my mom. Oh my God. I was like, no. And she came and she was furious. And my dad, well, technically my stepdad, but he's my dad. His name's Colin. He was like, let's take a walk, and walked with me and was like, I just want to let you know, you could hurt someone, you could have killed someone. I'm very disappointed in you. And I was like, wow. And just like, he was so calm, but just, I never forget that. Right. So like, that was the last time I ever did something dumb like that.
If you'd have took the Adderall, you would have read the sign.
Yeah.
no turn on red.
I know. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just chill here for 2 seconds. But no, I just turned right.
I want to actually go back to when we first came to the U.S., right? New York, the culture, you know, in those times it was a big hip hop scene. But same with sports. It's football, American football and basketball. Did the kids your age and your age group, did they look or frown upon you as being weird for getting into fencing?
Oh, all the time. That's a great question because I would always lie to kids and be like, oh, I run track or I play basketball. So I have to tell them I was fencing. It's funny now, like I tell everybody that. So my Instagram is Fencer, just so everybody knows. But back then, you know, I got into fights every day, people saying it was a wussy sport, a white sport, until I started to get like a little bit of notoriety. You know, you're on like the Kids Watch Illustrated, kids making some waves. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. And that's funny because now, fast forward, parents and kids will call me or message me on Instagram, but hey, just want to let you know, my kid gets bullied in school every day, but then he'll show them a picture of you, and that will change. That was like way bigger than any medal I could ever win, right? To like show kids whether you're white, black, or girl, boy, whatever. If you're like scared to do a sport that might not be accepted, like I'm here to show you that you can do whatever you want. And that's the bigger picture for me.
But are you just naturally rebellious?
Yeah, I'm nuts, bro.
But you see what I'm saying? Like it's like hearing the story about the car and hearing different things about you. Like it's rebellious. It's almost like I'm gonna go do something that y'all don't think I can do and be great at it. Just like I'm gonna steal my daddy's car. Just like I'm gonna cuss out this damn principal. Just like I'm gonna do that. Like rebellion created you.
100%. And I think that's why, like, when I saw the sport, there was one other guy, Peter, and then this woman in France she was like an Olympic champion, a black woman. Okay, cool, like she's amazing, but I was like, I want to do something way bigger than this. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I went to Penn State for a couple of years, and then I left, and I was like, I'm gonna be the first ever professional fencer to make $1 million. I told my mom that. She's like, okay, I bet I'll see like a unicorn at the 7-Eleven. This doesn't exist, right? Like, it's just like, there's no one to go, oh, look, he's this person. Yeah. But I don't know what it was. I had this thing I'll figure it out. Like, before I had any manager, I would just write emails on my behalf. Like, this is, you know, like, I just figured out. I don't know where that came from, but
you talk about being a unicorn, you actually are, especially in our country. To be a biracial, mixed kid that presents to me totally as black. Obviously in this country, they're going to see you as black, right? And you're in this sport that's not only sort of this like boutique, bougie, upper echelon, elitist sport, but you don't see a ton of us. How did you deal with some of the doubt or some of the unfamiliarity of being a you in a sport that doesn't have a lot of them?
That's a really good question. I think now, like going back into thinking about sometimes when I've like lost, realizing like that wasn't because I lost, it was because I was a black kid that was gonna win the Junior Olympics. And then like, I'll never forget the first time I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I got my first ever Junior Olympic medal. I was 14 or 15 and under 17, so it was like a big deal. And I had food poisoning actually the night before. I got my first ever medal and I was about to make the top 4, which is like never, you know, to make the World Championship team. And I got 6 red cards in a row. I was like, what's going on? I realized that it was 100% pure racism. That's the first time I've ever like really experienced it. And my coach, who's my second dad, a Ukrainian crazy man, was like yelling at the referee. But at that age, you don't really realize what's going on. And I was like, man, that sucks. And I was like crying. And I was like, and then I beat the other kid again, 15-4, the same kid. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And then you get like, you know, certain times it might be the Olympics or World Championships. Unfortunately, our sport is subjective a little bit, where like referees have a big impact.
Yeah.
So I've dealt with it my whole life, and obviously now it might be bigger than the sport, but you still get the flack from people that don't want it to change. But I think it's like, if you're not really making noise or upsetting some people, you're not making change.
But you also aren't like other fencers because obviously I know you because you are that different unicorn, and being a black man, those sorts of things are inspiring, right? When you see Simone Biles excel in gymnastics, that's inspiring. Gabby Douglas, Dominique Dawes back in the day, Serena Williams. When you see all these people who, Tiger Woods, are in sports that aren't normally quote unquote our sports, you support it and you get behind it. Also too though, like the other fencers be having like 4,000 followers. The good ones, you know what I mean? Like 10,000 followers. You're a dude that was able to model and do all these other things, get these endorsements to like supplement income and be great at your sport.
Exactly.
Like when you hanging out with the other fencers, you be like, shit, I hit Lewis up. So we did a lap at the F1, you feel me? Then me and Izzy, we was on the phone. Like, how do you even, I guess, sort of like assimilate and relate to the culture of the sport when everybody's so different?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I think it's like I live two lives almost, right? Where like I live the life outside of the sport, then one inside. So I'm grateful that I can have both, but I'm also still learning how to juggle, right? Because it's like, okay, I have a competition, but then I might have a huge endorsement, change my life. So I have to, move training up a little bit earlier because I don't want to miss, anything.
Right.
So like that's something I'm still learning, right? But then also I love my teammates, and obviously if I'm not them and I'm looking from the other side, it's like, oh, damn, which is like natural. It's not like any hate, it's natural. So I love those guys, but also I'm trying to take the sport to a whole new level. So I might rub some people the wrong way, but ultimately I know where I'm gonna go. But I think also like having friends, like Lewis is obviously my best friend, and
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, obviously my best mate, someone that you can learn from, and inspires me every way. We can talk about real life stuff, just what it's like being, black guys in white sport, just like stuff that no one else will ever understand. And then having someone like Izzy, who's someone that you kind of look up to, that also might be a friend. So it's weird to have these like people, even like being on here with all of you lot. Like this is huge to take my sport, to a mainstream platform, which is ultimately the goal. But we're still learning, man.
You went to Serena. You were going back. I was almost gonna go Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, that's real though.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
I'm just wearing the shoes.
Chan, man, you been watching the Yankees? Juan Soto killing them this year.
Oh boy, they might win it all. Juan and big Judge and them boys, goddamn man, they gonna do something.
And bruh, the Soto shuffle, hey, that's my joint. You think you could do it?
I can try, but I ain't gonna disrespect Juan like that. The man himself, I like to watch him do it.
And your knees touch too, so that probably.
My Kenny Smith ain't gonna do it.
Hey, Fanatics is offering a once-in-a-lifetime experience to meet Juan Soto. All they gotta do is download the Fanatics app and play free daily games. And bruh, you might get a chance to learn the Soto Shuffle from the man himself.
Your personality might hurt that because you're not clean cut.
No.
You're not like other fencers.
No.
So you're trying to put a skin color on a sport that hasn't seen that sport. Like you said, you've lost matches off being black and seen the racism, but also you tatted up with, you can't have my house around your neck.
I know. No, but this is all something light, bro. Yeah.
But even like you just gotta, were you always like that, just accept it? Just accept me?
Yeah.
Or did the fame build it up where you could be who you are?
I think since I could remember, I've been this way. At least some people have told me. And the best compliment anyone could ever tell me is you haven't changed. Like, fame, all this, I'm the same person. If I've ever met you since I was 12 and I see you, and I'll give you a hug. I'm not like, I think that's all I've been since I was young. So if I'm with like my teammates and I'm with whoever it might be, hey, this is my, let's bring everybody together. So I've always just been this way since I was a kid, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's why I tattooed my hands, because we're all in white, right? And wear a mask, I got my name, and I was like, no, it was scary to tattoo my hands, because all right, there's no going back. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like, oh, I could just, like a lot of my teammates or ex-teammates were like working in Morgan Stanley or all these other companies. I wasn't that, intellectual type of person. So I was like, I'm gonna figure it out in the sport, and then we'll just figure it out.
But did you ever regret it? Because it probably makes your path hard. It probably makes I would say not your path, your goal harder. Because you said you want to make fencing more mainstream like other sports.
Yeah.
But the way you are might make it harder for you to do that.
Yeah, I think so for sure. But I also realized I'm not gonna please everyone, and I love how they look. And I know if I get into a room with anyone, it's over.
Yeah.
And I know once you get in the room, like when my first ever endorsement deal with Nike, it was for, I think it was like $15,000. And I was like, was it 920 when I left Penn State? Yeah, 20. And I was like, all right, I left. And back at that time, if you were top 2 in the world, you get $4,000 a month as performance enhancement money, which is like, back then it was no NIL, but it was like okay for compliance. So I would save my money up. I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. And then now I'm still Nike 10 years later, and that's 50x. But I knew once I got into the door, I'll figure it out.
50x. You heard him.
Well, not 50. I'm not good at math.
We know what you meant.
No.
Yeah,
It's a little higher.
you ain't hurting.
No, it's a little higher. But like, there were times when like, you're like, okay, how am I gonna make some money? Because it's not like NFL, NBA, we've guaranteed contracts. We're basically similar to tennis, where it's all endorsement based. That's kind of how you grow yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest difference, is having a lot of endorsements, which is okay, cool. Deep breath, and then how's that, longevity money of, setting yourself up? Because I can't just, I could be a coach, there's no problem with that, but that's not me.
Right.
I want to change the sport.
So in that attempt and throughout your journey, trying to bridge the gap between that sport and the culture and vice versa, what we know nowadays is that Instagram or social media can make it look like one thing when it's totally something else. And right now at the moment, like, you certainly look the part, like you are the perfect candidate to try and bridge that gap.
Thank you.
But throughout that journey, there's had to be some adversities and some pitfalls that maybe have shaped you. Mm-hmm. Like, could you tell us what the toughest or the most adverse moment you've encountered throughout your journey?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, just from you can start from growing up in London, getting into fights all the time growing up, and then when your mom is your mom and your dad, right? She never complained, never was tired, all the same thing. Luckily, my stepdad came around, but basically, I could just do what I wanted until she came home.
Right.
I'm like, all right. And then moving to New York as a kid and having no ambition, right? Okay. And then that led to finding a sport, which changed my life. But then there's been the worst one recently, which I never told anybody, was my sister, who's 37, just had a stroke. Sorry. Which life is amazing until something like this happens to you really close. And it was 9 months ago, so right in the middle of Olympic qualification. No one knows this, actually. First time. So that was by far the hard. I was like, all right, coach, I'm done. I can take care of my family, because that's my main, as a brother, as a son, as a man of my family, I want to take care of my sister. So when I see someone who, we almost lost her, and to somehow also compete and make the Olympics was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, by far. So that's the most recent one.
Dang.
Yeah, which I think puts so much into perspective of health is number one.
Yeah.
And and thank God I worked really hard, but also learning so much. It's expensive to just medical all that stuff is so expensive. Learning about the hospital, there's so many things I've never even thought to think about. So that was by far the hardest thing I've done. And she's got 2 little kids.
Right.
Instead of 3 and 1. Mm-hmm. So they're like my kids now. And you have to step up. You don't have any other option. You become uncle, whatever. So to juggle that in the Olympics, only people that know that is my coach and my close friends, obviously, not you. But that is something that, you dealt with emotions. The first time I've ever cried since I was 12.
Yeah.
Which is all right, you learn a lot about yourself, strongman, all this stuff, but also some things that are out of your control, which is the worst feeling to have. So that was one of the most difficult things I've had to deal with in my older life.
Right. Like our sport, a lot of times the backgrounds in which we come up, we immediately are catapulted to the head of the house. We have to take care of everybody in our family. In an individual sport like fencing, you mentioned the medical, like the NFL, they provide us medical and all this other stuff. Like, are you provided medical and all that stuff in your sport? And are you the person in your family that has to take care of everybody else?
I mean, like, so medical, what I was referring to was bills for my sister.
For your sister,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Which, like, obviously we have, being Olympian, we have, you know, the best healthcare, all that stuff.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you know, you want to take care of your family because that's just what you do. Obviously, my stepdad, my dad also works very hard. But, like, when you make a certain amount of money, that's the goal. You know, my mom, that's the goal. You want to go shopping? Like, that's the best. But, like, no one would ever thought that, or I did, but, like, a fencer could be able to provide, you know, like that for, it's pretty cool to be able to do that. But also, it's a lot of hard work. Yeah. No one really sees that unless you're close to me. So we said Instagram, yes, it is. Also, like, I'll post real shit too. I'm always gonna be like, you know, you gotta be like, you know, I'm naturally a happy person, actually, thank God. But like, we all go through things, but sometimes you want to post, sometimes you don't. But I think it's more important. Like when I talked about the ADHD, ADD thing, I didn't realize it was such a big topic. But I was just like, no, this is like something that I've been dealing with my whole life, but no one knows it. And I open up more doors to be like, and I think later on down the line, if I can, you know, I'd rather somehow help kids that have learning disabilities, which are not a disability, that all you need is sports. That's the real Adderall, the real drug, right? It's just sports. Give you everything you need to learn. Everything. And I think that's been one of my goals is like, all these, you know, drugs and I get it, but I feel like sports, I don't know where I'd be without fencing.
Yeah, that was my drug for sure. Still addicted in many ways. Listening to you talk about adverse times, obviously dealing with your sister and her stroke, that's a different level of adversity. That's a different level of tragedy, different level of trauma. But also in 2012 at the Olympics, you weren't having, or you didn't feel like yourself. And you said Kobe Bryant gave you some advice that helped you and that you live by. What was that advice and how did you utilize that in your life to continue to grow?
You all really did your research, huh? I got Kobe tattooed on my leg too now, recently. First Olympics, 2012, in London. My nan's African woman got to see me fence, had no idea what was going on. That was actually one of the first times my biological father reached out to me again. After like 14 years of, because obviously Olympics, the first time I ever sent to Nike, so I had my first ever billboard in London. Never forget it, in all the subways. And I was like, oh, and that was the first time I spoke to him. I was like, okay, that's a lot to digest. Ended up getting a fourth, which was like basically get lost for me because it's the worst place. And then I was just like super down. And I was like, oh man, like, but I changed who I was. I was like very serious, like not enjoy myself because it was the Olympics. But then I realized it's all like just pressure, right? And the learning pressure is a privilege. And I've been like, no one really gets to ever feel this, so let's lean into it. And then that's when the next year my life changed. When I was the first American, still the first black man to ever become world champion in the sport. That's when I was just like, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna work harder than anyone else. And that was like my change of, you know, because I'm like, oh, I gotta wait another 4 years for this. The Olympics, right? In London, my hometown, thinking I'm gonna win, it's gonna run into the crowd, you know how you visualize things. And then I was like, oh man, this sucks. And I was like, just be you. And then I left school.
It seems weird though that you said you weren't yourself and you were serious. And the most serious competitor I've ever seen, Kobe Bryant, was the guy to give you advice to help you.
Yeah.
It seems like he would want you to be serious.
Well, I think, and then going back to when I met Kobe I was in the Team USA and he was getting ice after they going to the finals, I think. And I'm sitting there, I didn't know who I was, I'm sitting there getting ice. He said, hey, how you doing? What sport do you play? I was fencing. I was like, what's your name? Kobe. And then he's like, how'd you do? I was like, I got fourth, man. He's like, it's all right, man, don't worry about it. And then he walked out. Never forget it, with the two big ass ice things on his arm. He was like, the greatest athletes have the shortest memory. You win, you forget about it. You lose, you forget about it. When you're done your career, you go harbor on it. I was like, damn. But then that's also his killer mentality of like, I'm only gonna win, but like I'm gonna go out doing it the way I wanted it. As opposed to like being subdued. And I'm very like focused, but also like in terms of like being at the Olympics, go out to London, enjoy yourself. That's what I mean of like not being myself. You know, like I suppose it's like being in the room, only watching like video footage, which I'm not like, I know he's watching like lions eat each other and stuff, you know? But I'm like, nah, I'm gonna put on Snatch and just chill in the room. But that's what I meant by like,
Yeah,
being
gotcha.
myself, Miles, of like, enjoy yourself, but also, like, just be you.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing, I think, is to be you.
Hey, bro, you almost finished, man. Grab this, dog.
Man,
you know
appreciate
what? Because you're not yourself when you hungry, dog.
I know, man. I got to run.
And here the other thing is, though, you are making a rookie mistake right now. Nobody bites the Snicker all soft. It just gets a little bit off the edge, man. You got to really get after that thing.
But you know what now? Are rookies really rookies this time of year? They done been in there for a couple weeks now. You got to go, but this season's long. That's why they got to get them a Snickers, man. I know I was eating Snickers.
I'm telling you what, though, some of the rookies still are because they're still making those mistakes. The cool part is Snickers wants to give you an opportunity to win tickets to the Super Bowl. And if you go to Snickers.com right now, Snickers.com/rookie mistake, you get an opportunity to win weekly prizes as well.
Yeah, what is it? Gift cards, tickets, what else?
Come on now. Go get you a Snickers or two.
What
I'm
was that
telling
web-
you,
what
they
do
can
we-
make
what-
you look like me.
What do we go to sign up again? I'm
Snickers.com.
gonna sign up.
Hey, every now and then, I'm a little shy to share my rookie mistake, but sharing your rookie mistake can win you tickets to the big game, and there's no purchase necessary. You go to Snickers.com/rookie mistake. That's Snickers.com/rookie mistake. The only mistake you can make right now is not getting out your mobile device and going to Snickers.com.
Well, man, sorry. Let me put my Snickers down. Hey, we ain't done yet. Back to the show. Some people call it arrogant, because when I looked up fencing, you wrapped your motherfucking hand around the back of your head, and you have a sport that's been around for decades, and no one's ever done that. They named a move after you.
Yeah.
What was the thought of that? Was it showing out? Was it like, I'm so much better than you, I don't even need, I ain't gonna do nothing nobody else, like the Watson.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like,
Yeah.
how did that come about? Did you know you were gonna do it? Have you messed people up in the past and they were like, what the hell is he doing?
I did it in Turkey in 2010, World Championships. Reaction. Didn't even, because fencing is a lot of infighting, means you're close. And if you turn your shoulder, you're gonna get a yellow card because you're covering target. So instead of turning my shoulder, I had to wrap my arm around my head, and the foil came out and hit him in his chest this way. And then the referee was like, hold on a second. And went back to the video footage. We've never seen it before. I was like, oh, wow. And then, like, they went to the arbitrage. Is this a legal move? And he's like, all right, like, touche, like, point to Miles. And then I was like, oh, wow. And I started doing it all the time. And now it's funny because my coach, he'd be like, all these, like, little kids that are 8 are just trying to do it at practice. My coach's like, stop, you're ruining the sport. Stop it. But, yeah, which is cool because, like, I think only Simone Biles, Ryan Lochte have like, other moves, which is cool. But that's also another, like, thing that sport just needs to change. And, that, you know, like, it's been around for 300 years and we're just doing the same thing. So I'm like, which is cool.
Do the other fencers take it as arrogant? Or
Yeah, that's like my like crossover or like me jumping over you on like a one-on-one. You know, like that's my finisher, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Finish him. Yeah. Now he Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like,
My arms are also too short. Like,
no, it's just flexibility.
Well, you know, I ain't got none of that neither. No, it's just as far as
Because your
it
arms
goes.
are too damn big.
Football, we tight.
That's true.
Football players are tight.
Y'all getting hit like that. Yeah.
But even that, with your body type, you don't look like the other athletes. No. Like, it's just, do you already win the match when you walk out because you got this little 5'8" dude from Italy shaking his little arm, and your big ass walk out like, bitch, you ain't never gonna touch
Maybe
me.
mentally, but also why fencing is cool is you can be 5'5" from Japan and be so quick and still beat someone like me. Because they got a tiny target and I got a bigger reach. Mm-hmm. So that's why fencing's cool. And y'all have to come to a match one day. You promise me? Y'all come to LA 2028.
Yeah, we'll do that.
When is it?
Yeah. We'll come see you.
Olympics.
LA 28.
Yeah, come see me.
For
We'll
sure.
get you tickets. Well, hopefully everything's all good.
They're like, nah, them three, they can't come out. No, Miles.
No, we're gonna have a good time. But definitely. But yeah, it's honestly like chess and boxing together. You gotta think ahead and react. Mm-hmm. That's what I tell people. Physical chess. Yeah.
You've always said you want to make it a mainstream. How does it become that? Because it's so short. What is it? It's 11 minutes.
Yeah.
3 3-minute rounds with a minute in between.
Yeah.
It's an 11-minute match. Well, I did more goddamn research on this
I was
shit.
like, wait, is it? He's right.
Yeah, it's 11 minutes of time for one match.
Exactly.
How could you blow it up? You want to blow it up, you want to make it mainstream. How do you, when you think about that and you always say it, how do you see that happening where it's dudes coming into an arena? It's us coming, like you're saying, to watch you like, we got to go see Miles go ahead and stick this little sword in this dude's chest for a little bit. But I'm only there for 11 minutes.
There's a couple. One of them I'll tell you off air because it's gonna be crazy. But one of them was, for instance, like at the Olympics when I had everybody come watch me. We never ever had those people come to a fencing match. You know, we had obviously Lewis came, Shaun White came, Nina came, Snoop came, Book came, Bam came, all, you know, to watch me, but also like people in the crowd were like, wow, like, we've never seen this type of, and then getting their audience to, oh wow, what's he doing here? Watching, oh, Miles, then it goes, you know, and then it starts its chain. That was an amazing start right there to get a different audience. Because the only reason fencing is not on TV is because they don't understand what's going on. That's it. You got bowling on TV, right? Because it's so easy to understand. You got darts, because you know, we all play it. But I'm working on a way now to make it easy to understand, which will ultimately change the sport. And then we're gonna have bigger spectacles, and then TV time.
Yeah.
That's number one. That's what we're working on too. That's the big thing, is being on TV. You might know me from my Instagram, but you probably see me compete once a year on Olympics or World Championships. That's the only time we're really televised. So that's another big thing. And then also just like things like this, which is gonna open doors for people that might know, oh, wait, he's a fencer, or, you know, and then find out the story. Because it's such a beautiful sport, but I want it to be mainstream because it is combat. It's not like we're like people died back in the day. It's a real sport.
Yeah.
So I think when you see it in person, you realize how intense it is, how hard it is. And then another one is working on something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, if I can gamble on it, I got you.
I'm telling you.
'Cause I'm betting on your big ass.
It's gonna be, you better. You better. And then, and that's just like, and also like grateful that all my endorsements, they support me, which also puts fencing in a whole different light. If I'm in a billboard and wherever, wait, oh wow, this is, and you know, then it starts this chain.
Yeah.
So I think is the biggest thing, is getting people to realize what he's doing. And then I think then you get behind the story. And then, and I think that's gonna be a big game changer for the sport.
Wow, you've been in the States long enough, like I mentioned earlier, coming in during the big hip hop era in New York. So you've adjusted to the rap culture here.
Yeah.
The UK rap and the rap back home. Do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I also grew up too. Like I'm Miles. I was born, you know, Miles Davis. So I've always loved all music. But I grew up with like older British rap. You know, you got Gigs, you got Dizzy Rascal, you got all those are guys. And now obviously you got Central C and Dave. I love that because I understand what they're saying.
Right.
Most people don't know what they're saying. You're like, huh? But then also love like American hip hop. You know, and that's like wake up on the way over here, I was just blasting, you know, hip hop, and I love music. And I think sports and music have like such a good relationship with each other. I think that's just like wake up, music on, you know. But I love music. Like I love music. So all culture, all kinds of music, it's just been like my thing. Is
Okay, I got a question, right? Because I always wanted an accent, and I don't even do them well. Like what I gave you at the beginning of the show when I said your name, that's like the extent of it. And normally I just end up sounding Irish Jamaican all the time because that's the only two I know. You know, so like say Shohei Ohtani or all these people who come from foreign countries and they're here for a while, I'm always hoping they learn English so I can understand them, right? And a lot of times when people come from another country, they try to like lose their accent. Do you keep your accent so when you shoot your shot, as some like when you in the club, like when you walk up and you shoot your shot, you feel like if I got an accent, it helped me? Cause I know you done been in America long enough where you could lose it. So I feel like you keep it very heavy for a reason.
For the sexy.
There's a two part answer to this.
Coach
Okay, explain
like Damson.
Yeah.
Dub C was his coach. Like, you get a coach too now.
Nah, I was just with Damson. He's just stronger than ever, man. So here, two things. In the beginning, I tried to speak American. It's like some interviews you'll see me like trying, because I was like the only one on the team who wasn't. But then it's harder to understand me if I try and speak American. So like I can speak American if you want, but having a British accent, Ryan, is a cheat code, bruv. Right?
Bruv.
Getting out of tickets, it's crazy how less threatening you are to police with an accent. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. It happened to me twice. Obviously, you know, the ladies like it too. I don't know, I just think it's me. Like, you know, I feel like my whole aesthetic is also British, but also like, and most of my friends are British too.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not losing it. And my mom calls me every day, and she yells at me in British, so I can't lose it.
When you sat between Rihanna and Madonna, did at the Met Gala,
What was that, bro? What's the Met Gala?
So when you one, to get invited to the Met Gala is crazy. So I don't know how, you got to tell me how you get invited. Not how I get invited, but how do they tell you you're invited? And so when you look at the seating chart, 'cause that's what I would do. I want to know who I'm sitting with.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah, when you look at the seating chart and you see those two names, what's the next thought? And I want to hear the story.
It's like, I gotta get there early, bro. That was 2016, I think. Yeah, and it was the first time I ever shot Vogue. First time I got my Olympic medal in Rio. And I think Anna Wintour, maybe someone from Vogue might have watched my match or something. And then I was in New York for like just some press, and then said, hey, would you like to shoot Vogue? I was like, it's not April yet, for real? And I was shooting Vogue, like American Vogue, like a full spread. And then Anna said, she likes you, would you like to go to the Met Gala? And I was like, this can't be true. You know, like, I don't belong on there, you know, like just, it's just, and I was like, what? And I was like, what's the day? I landed from Tokyo the Monday at 10 a.m. of the Met. Went to fitting, did everything, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, you're staying in like this, like, the Mark, hotel, and I'm like, this is, and everyone you're seeing, everyone's walking through that, like everyone's in the hotel, and I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm gonna walk up the stairs, and everyone's like, who's that guy? But luckily, I knew a couple people there, and I'm walking up because it's super intimidating. Like, you walk up the steps, and my call time was with Lala, Anthony, who's like my sister, the best, Travis, Scott, and Aziz Ansari. And like, that's like everyone has like 5 minutes of red carpet time. That's when you have to arrive.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is all right, here we go. And then thank God someone knew who I was. And then you go to this like kind of cocktail hour in the museum, and then everybody goes to seating. And I'm talking to Hugh Jackman, because I took his son fencing, Oscar, who's amazing. And he was like, I'm hanging out with you the whole time. Don't leave my side. I know nobody here. I'm having a good time. And then I'm just like, we're having just a good chat. And it's like 9 p.m. you have to sit down. It's like 9:30. I'm like, oh, I'm late. And she's like, sir, you go to table 16. You want to be at your table 16? I was like, all right, I'll be there. And I had like, someone was telling me you might be sitting with, I didn't really know. And I walk up to the table. It's like a long, like, Last Supper table. Kim K's there. Olivier from Bon Mon's there. Jeremy Scott from Moschino's there. Rihanna's there. A seat open. Madonna's there. And I'm like, and then Lil Yachty is there too. It's the most wild table. Actually, think about it. It's the most wild table ever, actually. I went to the Vogue table, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what? Hi, nice to meet you, Miles. Love to meet you. And I was like, this might be the last time I'm ever invited, so I'm just gonna have the best time. I was like, all right, like, let's all take a shot. I'm like, who's this guy? And then we all ended up taking a shot, and that being like, we had the best table and the most fun. And funny, that's where I met Lewis, my best friend, there. He was like, yeah, bro, how'd you get the seat? And I was like, I have no idea. I was like, just pull up a seat. Which, like, you're not supposed to do that, really. And he put up a seat, and that was it. And we became best friends from that moment.
I love that. That's
Which is
great.
wild.
That's a
And
great
if you ever meet him, he'll tell you his side of the story, too. But yeah, and that's how I got invited. And then that was, like, really cool to be at a table or with people that you admire and respect. But I was myself. I was the fencer, which is why it was so cool to be myself at a table with, those people. And then we had a good night, mate. And that's it. Next question.
Yeah, you say, look,
You know what I'm saying?
and that's it.
Miles, you said you like the rap culture.
Yeah.
So Ice Cube said he messed around and got a triple-double on The Day Was a Good Day. I know you heard that song. Did you mess around and get famous? Because it seems like you're still surprised by these stories that you're telling. Like, yeah, was Donna, Rihanna?
Yeah.
Shit, I'm here, so we're going to sit down and chill. Like, are you still surprised by your fame?
Yeah, and I think one day you wake up and like things are a little different. But it's also weird to me to have like people, I don't know, on the plane, I love what you're doing, like, and I'm like, thank you. Like, obviously it gets to a certain point, I'm sure, from people where it's like a little annoying, I'm sure, but like, yeah. I think that's what keeps me humble, is to always be thankful for all your blessings. I never get too ahead of myself, I always keep myself as even as I can, because I think you can get lost in this world. And like being in LA, it's a lot of distractions, but like having routine and focus is everything. But yeah, I think I am. I think I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to it.
What was it like Paris Fashion Week, hanging out with Joey B and Jettis?
Those are my boys. Oh man, they were awesome, bro. It was funny because they were with IMG too, and it was like only like 5, 6 athletes. I think Wemby was there, Serena. It was an amazing show. And then we met. We just all connected. And like, you know, Justin and Joe are so different.
Yeah.
Personality-wise, like Joe was no joke, was sitting there eating his meal prep. And like Justin shopping. And I'm like, y'all, it's two different people, you know?
They went to a great school though.
Oh yeah. And then I didn't know the story. Okay. And I was like, you know, because I know them on TV, but we just end up having just a great time, like 4 or 5 hours with them. And I'm gonna go see Joe and Justin at some point. But I realized they played together. I was like, this is so cool that y'all can also be the best at your position, do fashion, and you know, and just be homies, which is like I think rare. Yeah. You know, which is cool. And they're awesome. And they're talking about LSU, and it's so loud in there. And
Tiger's asshole.
LSU guy too.
Yeah, so watch yourself. You got that purple on now.
You know,
you repping
some
for
yellow.
us.
But I would love to go to a game. Can you go to a game?
You have to go to a game.
Can we go to a game
Yeah,
one day?
we could do that.
All right.
You have to go to a game. Now, I know how you like to do, bro. I know you try to be frugal, right? You want to take care of your family for years to come. It's the NFL season, dog. I know you want to get that new gear, so if you do, you can use Klarna. All you got to do, go to Klarna. It's going to elevate your shopping experience. And on top of that, you can break up the payments into 4 installments. And so instead of you coming off of all your money right away, you can get Lil Chan, you can get Ava, you can get everybody tightened up and spread the payments out.
Bro, I love Klarna because you can enjoy your fandom. You can pay now or pay later. You can regulate how you pay. You can track your purchases. You can also get the exclusive deals they got. Man, Klarna's gonna line you up to be the best fan you can be.
The one thing we hated most as a player was losing, because we know the fans, they come to these games, they use their hard-earned money to come support and watch us. Now, with Klarna, they can save a lot of money, decide if they want to pay now or play later, so they can play now and come and see us do our thing.
Bro,
I love Klarna.
And all you gotta do is download the app, and you can regulate when you pay. So you set for the games, and then you figure out when you're gonna pay for those items because you out there stunting.
All right, listen, I already know you have done it, but they need to download the Klarna app, add it in your cart, right? Pay with Klarna, and what you can do is buy now, pay later. All of our MLS fans, check out using Klarna and use the code word PIVOT and get 20% off your next purchase. California resident loans made or arranged pursuant to a California financing law license. I want to, and I know this is kind of backtracking, but the show is the pivot.
Yeah.
I would be remiss to not ask you what the conversation with your father was like after 14 years. To now be the Miles, who's a fencer who has moves named after him, and to get that phone call from someone you haven't had in your life or haven't spoken to.
Well, I think initially it's like you're angry because you're like 20, but then I read this quote and it said, or like kids don't realize that the parents are growing up too, which like changed my whole of like, I can imagine having a kid now, and he had a kid when he was 30 probably. No excuse, but I think just like understanding there's two sides to every story. All right, cool. All right, no problem. Like, I'm competing, but, you know, I'll see when I see you. Very short. It was like 36 seconds, I think. I don't want to remember that so well. But initially, it's like, hi, are you here? Can I see you? And obviously the answer was no. But then you circle back 5 years ago, I think. And, you know, Lewis and I were talking. And I think it's important to, like, never have any baggage. Yeah. I was like, hey, I remember I calling my dad again, randomly, like, hey, Dad, how are you? I'm going to be in London next week for a shoot. If you're there, let's get a drink or some tea or whatever you want to do. And then I said it and I forgot. And then I'm in the hotel, never forget it. And they say, hey, Mr. Watson's downstairs. I was like, oh, shit. I forgot about that. Go to the minibar, smash a beer real quick, go downstairs, and we just talked for 3 hours. Wow. And it wasn't like, I needed you. It was like, listen, I'm a man now. Do you need anything? It was just like mature, keep a surface level. I don't want to dive into anything deep too well, but also, and I posted about it, just to like, you know, men, especially black men, you know, it's like, it's, oh, you don't have a dad, that's normal. You know, it's like, well, it's also, I would say it's normal, but it's very common, but also now, just speaking about how you feel, all this weight, you know, kind of went away. So now I still talk to him, especially because my sister has had the stroke. We've been talking more. Because I hate to be the guy who, like, if he passed away, I'd be like, it's too late now. Right. So I think I think it's just important to just be real and talk about how you feel, whether it's a hard conversation or not. And I think you'll feel better afterwards. I think it's important for everybody to just, talk about, because like I said earlier, I didn't cry since I was 12. Not because it's monster, just because you don't have a choice. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, oh wow, like from 12 till when it was lost, there's nothing wrong with crying. I think I'm learning more and more about it. It's like, oh wow, it's actually it's a release. Yeah. So, and I've never ever had this thought process of like, oh, you need to let your emotions out,
But did it help you? Did it help you to talk to your dad? Like you're saying, you don't need nothing from him.
For sure.
You always want to lean, like they always show us like the parent, child, but you don't need that now. But did it help you, your mental, did it help anything?
For sure. I think it did, for sure. And he's never really seen me compete ever. So that's another thing, which would be cool to, have everybody come together. But I think it definitely helped. For sure it did. Maybe not even me realizing that it did, it definitely did. Yeah. That's because back in the day, I was like, I'll never talk to you again. Right? As a kid, that's like the first reaction. Yeah, but now.
Me and my dad fell out for like 5 years almost, 5 years. Really? And I was like, I don't need him. But then once we were together, I was kind of like, oh, like this is cool. That's my dad. That's my biological father.
Yeah, and then you see some things in him that you might seem like, damn, you kind of are like me in a weird way. Right. And I was like, damn it, like you're kind of funny too.
Do you watch TV? You don't watch?
I love TV.
Did you ever? We say you watch documentary. You ever watch This Is Us?
Oh my God.
Well, Sterling K. Brown's character was always looking for himself in other people, because obviously he was adopted by an entire family, so he didn't have either of his parents, but you didn't have half of what made you. Was that ever something you were searching for? Like you said, you got to a point where you didn't need him, but you talk about the ADD, the ADHD, dyslexia, say the word.
Dyslexia.
It's the hardest word to say.
Yeah. Dyslexia.
Everyone is dyslexic saying dyslexia.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a hard word to say.
If you can say it, you got it.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to, were you searching for yourself because you were missing that piece of having a father in a land that was truly foreign to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to because people get confused when I say my stepdad, my dad, because I hate calling my stepdad because he taught me everything I know. Yeah. Colin's my dad. So having him changed my life, right? But then there are points when you're younger where you're like, oh, I could have used you for this, or asked you a question. You gotta figure it out on your own. Which I think ultimately, now I know exactly the dad I will be, because I've seen the one that I don't want, which is also like a blessing. It's never lost, it's always a lesson. I have tattooed on my hand, which is like you learn more from things that you might not realize have a bigger picture, which now I've got so much respect for parents in general. But I think it's something I'm always constantly searching for, which I think that void was in fencing or wherever it might be. But I think that's also what my drive is, why I have so much drive too. So I think it's a blessing in a weird way. We all got kids. We can. Yeah. I'll let you know how to make some kids now if you're ready.
Take it away,
don't listen to him. That's the bad uncle.
How many kids you have?
3.
He's the bad uncle. Don't listen to him. He'll have you doing some shit you're not supposed to
linger.
do.
Yeah, that's a good uncle. I got my Uncle Dennis. That's my guy.
Do your thing, Freddie T.
It's always good to release that baggage.
Yeah.
Just to be a little freer in life. This part of the show is the part I love the most. Yeah. I get to ask the question, what's been your biggest pivot in life? Or moments?
The biggest one, I think, that's a really good one, because I'm trying to figure out which lane to go into. Pivot in my life. That's a good question.
But
I'm trying to give you a good answer.
One, man. Our guests love it too.
I think, you mean in terms of what?
That one moment you can look back on and say, without this occurring, in my life, I may not be the person who I am today.
I think the first time I ever got here's another story for you guys. Damn, I got all the good stories. That's a great question. I think now I know exactly the point. I was at NCAA's. Damn, I'm looking crazy. NCAA's in Texas, for some reason, and I got second. I was really, really pissed, and my mom was there, and then the head of the Olympic committee was there because I was like gonna be on the upcoming the team, and the president of my federation was there. And it was so dumb. I was like 19, I was at the bar drinking double whiskey cokes, chilling there, and I don't know why I was like throwing like shampoo like an idiot. I don't know what I was doing. Like I was young, and then I guess someone saw me and they tried to find me, and I got out of the elevator and someone was like, "Hey, I'm gonna arrest you." I was like, "No, you're not." And then like shoving this guy out of the way, and it was a cop. And as he's like, behind your back, I'm like, "No." I put my hands behind my back, and my mother comes through the door. I literally and I was like, my life is over. I was like, oh my, and I was like seeing like your mom disappointed in you. That's when I was like, that's it. And that was probably the last time I ever got in real trouble.
Wow.
Yeah, I never forget it. Cause she was like, what are you doing? You know, you could like throw your whole life away for what? Just like being stupid. That was probably my biggest pivot. And then after that, I made my first Olympic team in college when no one thought I would. And I went back to Penn State as an Olympian. But I knew that was when I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. You need to get your shit together.
Right.
Yeah.
I never forget that day, actually. It's a great question.
Yeah. World champion, bronze medalist. Twice, sorry. World champion twice,
Okay.
bronze medalist, fashion icon, model. You've changed the sport, obviously, but you've also done so much away from it. What do you want your lasting legacy to be when it's all said and done?
I think I want my that's a great legacy, to be someone who was always true to himself, failed, got up again, but ultimately changed the sport that gave him everything and inspired a whole new generation of kids. That to me is bigger than any medal I could ever win. Because if when I'm done, retired, kids can say, well, have me in the locker room, the sport is better because of Miles. And inspiring black kids, whatever it might be, because I speak to all the kids that got bullied, didn't have direction, might not have best household, found a sport that might not be cool or niche, and they can look at me as an example and say, he did it his way, failed along the way, got up, but ultimately just had self-belief. That's why I have tattooed on my hand. That's all I need. That's it. I think that would be it for me. I can win, that's cool.
Right.
But to change the entire sport for the better is what a legacy is.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
That's a word, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Thank you for pivoting with us.
Let's get out questions.
That's the
answer.
No, appreciate you, boy.
Pleasure, bro.
That was great, man. Thank you.
I'm gonna start saying, bro.
Pleasure, bro. That's all you gotta say, bro.
Like, man.
Where you want to take the picture at, Lee?
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm finna get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm finna